Hey everybody, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Google Chat. Now you might have heard of Google Chat before from the district, especially during distance learning, thinking it's just another message app like WebEx. Personally for me, I like Google Chat a little bit better because it's not a program that I need to install and start up. It's just a website, so I know it's going to work. And there's actually a video below that shows you how to install it as what's called as a progressive web app, which is a fancy way of saying it's going to open up in its own separate browser. It's going to act like a program, but it's not. It's just a website. So we're going to look at Chat and Spaces today and show you some of the new features they have. And, maybe in the end it's something that you want to try at your site. So Chat had a couple new things put in. You can see it has the quick replies got added in. You have the formatting options, including bullets. A couple that I is this quote reply. So if I have a long text string going with a teacher or another colleague, I could quote reply so they know what I'm responding to. So that makes it nicer. The other thing you had this option that got put in is add to tasks. So it's going to take that message, put it into tasks. So now you have to remember what to recall, what it is about. And there's a button in there that says, hey, show this in the conversation. So if you add this message to tasks and you kind of put it in, but you're like, I don't really remember what else we talked about, you click on that button, it's going to take you back to Chat, and it's going to go ahead and say exactly where you added it so you could read the conversation, know what you were talking about when you added it. So that's Google Chat, so nice little functionalities there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Spaces, because I think actually that got the bigger changes. When Spaces was first announced, it was called Rooms, and if you just thought of it as group messaging, you're really missing out on the functionality of Spaces. So what you're looking at is the WASC group at Walnut High School, and you can see that I have now three sort of little tabs up here. Chat is just like we had up there. It's still Chat. The next tab we have is Files. Now, what this does is any file that gets put into the chat gets added here automatically. So a Google Doc, sheet, a slide, even a PDF, if it's get added in there, it's going to show up here. And you can see you actually have the option to manually add a file as well. You have some options over here. You can go ahead and add a shortcut to that file to your drive so you don't have to come to Chat to work on it. This one I also like is you can click this button and it's going to take you to the place in the chat when this file was posted. So if you're trying to recall what was being talked about when we posted the file or anything, you could go ahead and just click that and see if there were any comments made right away. Finally, we have tasks. You can see we have none here, but you could add one, put in the name, or the task, give it a date and time, and you could actually assign it to people. And I think this is where Spaces really starts to get useful. So now if I have a space created for, let's say, all the geometry teachers, there's like 5 of us, we could now say, okay, we're going to work on the benchmark. I'm going to say, Teacher A, you do questions for Chapter 1. Teacher B, you're doing Chapter 2 and 3. I'd put, for me, I'm going to go ahead and do Chapter 4. I could give a due date of a date and time, and I can assign it to those people. And these tasks are going to be added to my Google Calendar. So I'm going to be getting the reminders that a task is due, and I'm going to see it on my calendar. So I think that's very useful to have. Not just for a task, but I think Spaces are good just for same grade levels or same content area. Let's say I'm a world history teacher and I've shown Gandhi 5 times and I've had the same questions. It's easy for me to go into the space and say, hey, does anybody have any resources for Gandhi? And you could go ahead and share anything that you have back to your colleagues. At Walnut High School, the GLCs actually have a space, and it's nice to watch them work. They ask questions about certain section numbers, about certain students, and the responses are really quick, and it's a lot faster than sending an email to everybody and waiting for the replies to come in at one at a time. Or if you have like 5 replies, you know how it is. You're kind of scrolling through all the different replies to kind of get to the last one. This makes it nicer, and in the end, because your quick conversations are happening here, your email inbox is going to stay cleaner. Now, if you teach high school students, you could actually make a space for them. I'll show you here. All you have to do is hit plus, create a space. So we'll just call this test. Now, if it's a small group, let's say you want to set up a space for projects, you can go ahead and put in the name of each person. You could do that. But if we're going whole class, no one wants to put in 30, 35 names. So I'm going to call this, name the space, and I'm going to change this to Walnut Valley. I'm going to hit create. So one of the problems we had during distance learning was teachers wanted to create a space for students, but what I'm going to show you wasn't available at the time. If you go to test, and now that you've changed that setting to anybody in Walnut Valley, you can copy the link and now post that in your Google Classroom. So you could actually create a U.S. history first period chat space. You could do that. But since we're dealing with students, I do have to caution you, make sure that you change some of the settings. So after you have that link created, go to the space settings, and you're going to want to change these. You're not going to want everybody to manage, only you. You would also change this because you don't want students to be able to change access and things like that. Not that students would, of course. But if you're doing a content group or a grade level group, you don't need to change any of the settings because, we're all professionals. And then you would just save out. The one other thing that I recommend, especially high school, because that's where the students have access to chat and spaces is because students have access to Gmail. We do not. We get Outlook. But if you look in Gmail has kind of become this sort of cluster, this hub of communication. So students see their emails, they also see their chats and spaces. So now what we do is we want to get the students to just go to Gmail, and they have access to everything at one spot. It's like a one-stop shop for the students. So that's something to keep in mind too. If you're looking for ways to communicate, maybe they're not checking email, maybe they'll start using chat because it's easier communication for them. So that's it, actually. That's the new Google Chat. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. Hopefully it's helped you out and understand it a little bit better. And maybe after watching the video, it's something you want to try at your site with your colleagues. Appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks.